Hi guys, Virginia here, and I'm back with another 12 by 12 process video for you today, and this one's for the SpiegelMom Scraps design team. And yeah, this layout is one that I've had in my head for a very long time, or okay, a very long time, since even actually before I purchased this collection. This is Chamel's Head in the Clouds collection. As soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to do a fairy tale type story on a layout, and this has been milling and churning in my head, this idea, for quite some time, and I just really haven't had a lot of time to get it done. So I thought today might be the day. It was also one of those layouts where I think I'd probably overthought it so much in my head and planned it and designed it that I was afraid that once I finally got it down on the actual layout, it would be one of those ones that didn't actually turn out what was in my head. But it turned out better. So that's a bonus. Okay, so what I'm doing is I am making the book. I'm doing a little quote unquote marks here with my fingers. Not that you can see it. And what I've done is just basically taken some white cardstock. It's smooth white cardstock, and it's in the A4 size, which is I guess 8.5 by 11 American size. And I fold it in half, and then I've just measured 2.5 centimeters around the edge on the left hand side, and just basically cut out a frame. So these two white pieces that I'm overlapping now are going to be the pages to my book, and now I'm just working out a way to bring in another pattern paper, and that's going to be my cover for the book, if that makes sense. Now I want to bring in a bit of dimension. I want it to really feel like it is a book, and those pages are kind of lifting or curving off the page and off the layout. And so yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. For this first section, I'm going to pop a frame of adhesive foam around the edge, and that's going to give me a nice little, I guess kind of like a shadow box to embellish and add my photo in. So I'm just popping some adhesive tape around the edge of that foam, and then I'm going to add on top of that white cardstock. Now this is being slightly offset to the top left, if that makes sense. You'll see, so down the bottom, or to the right hand side and along the bottom, this white paper underneath is slightly poking out, and that's going to give it the effect of like pages curling up, and kind of like you're looking at a book on a bit of an angle. So for this page here, I want it to curve up, so I've done a line of ATG tape, and then I've tried to support it with a bit of foam, but I think that the curl was a bit larger than the foam, so it was kind of surplus to requirements, but that's okay. And to give the effect of a page kind of about to turn, I've just grabbed my pencil and rolled that corner with the pencil. So I apologise, I'm shooting through this. It took me a bit of a while to work out what I was actually doing. And then embellishing, that took me a while as well, because I was kind of refreshing my mind with what was in the collection. Okay, so I'm adhering it all to this background pattern paper. This right hand side of the book, again, I'm going to give it a bit of a curve. So I'm just popping a little bit of adhesive foam, and then I'm just, again, with ATG on that right hand side. I'm just going to trim off the excess, and now I've got a little book. I'm really happy with it. So I'm going to trim off the branding strip off that background pattern paper. This is all from Chamel Head in the Clouds, by the way. And now I can start to embellish. So what I've done, I went into my Silhouette Studio and I printed off, you'll see on that writing, just a little story, a little faux story, just so that I could bring in these characters and elements and stuff that are in the collection, and to make a really fun little fairy tale type layout. And I've just typed it up, and I did the page numbers as well, and I printed it out on the same white cardstock that I've used for the book. Okay, so I'm just going to put that to the side, and I'm just working on the inside of this, what did I call it before? Shadow box type thing. This is going to be basically the picture for my storybook. So I'm popping some adhesive foam on the right hand side. And the reason I chose this striped background pattern paper is it reminded me of kind of like a library book or a textbook, something that you would see a book kind of with, if that makes sense. But I do later on find a die cut piece that's like a library card, which I do end up including as well, but that's okay. Okay, so I have trimmed off a bit of pattern paper in that green. I wanted to bring in a green like a background like the grass, and I strategically placed it so that it was mostly green and a lot of the unicorns weren't showing. And I've trimmed that out and inserted that in my little square box, and my photo is going to sit to the left of that box, and I've just popped it up on some adhesive foam so that it's all in line. I've trimmed out my little story, and I'm going to adhere that basically in the center of that right hand side page with some A to G tape. And now I'm just going to trim out my little page numbers when I get there, and I'll pop them at the bottom of each page. I felt like that was an important little detail. If you're going to have a book, the pages are numbered. If you're curious about the fonts that I use, the O was done in, I'm pretty sure it was Curls MT, or Curls something, and then the rest of it was just Times New Roman. Pretty basic, but I like the look of it. It fit well with this collection. Okay, so now the fun bit, the embellishing. I am going to quickly go through that die cut pack for this collection, and there's a little library card that I mentioned before. I'm going to pull out some pieces that I think I can work into the layout, like the frog, because I mentioned the frog in the story. We've got some butterflies. They're not in the story, but that's okay. Flowers, and I want to make sure they bring in the mermaids, unicorn, and dragons as well. Okay, so for my chipboard pieces, this was the mermaid I wanted to bring in. She was a lovely colour. So I end up tucking her down in the centre of that book, just down the bottom. She kind of overlapped there nicely. And I wanted to bring in the castle because I mentioned the castle in the story, and it was a good opportunity to use it. It's such a large piece. For my photo, I've popped a whole lot of adhesive foam on it, but I'm going to peel them off and then back it on this purple pattern paper, just to give it a bit of, to differentiate it between that white paper in the book and the photo. It was very just kind of white on white, and I wanted a pop of colour, so that's what that is there. I'm going to bring in this chipboard dragon. He just fit perfectly up the top of that book. And he's also serving another purpose. He's kind of flattening out that page because there's so much curl in that cardstock in the book. It's wanting to curl the background paper. So this guy up here is quite nice and sturdy, so he's helping to flatten out my layout for me as well. So I'm just putting glue on. I peeled the adhesive backing on and then put glue under it just to make sure it stayed. I think all the chipboard pieces I've just peeled the adhesive layer off because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to commit to them or not. So okay, this little sticker unicorn off the sticker sheet fit perfectly down there. It was a lovely colour. It was a nice little position that the unicorn was in. It was not going to be too intrusive on the layout, so I've just popped it down there on the bottom right of that story. I'm going to bring in some butterflies now. We've got stickers and die cuts and a chipboard one at the top, and these are going to help to bring a whole lot of whimsy and interest to the layout. My little frog prince is going to go down there tucked under that mermaid, and I'm just going to support that mermaid with some adhesive dots. Okay, and I realised I hadn't glued down my castle, so I'm going to quickly do that. And I'll glue down this die cut butterfly. And I remove that little pot plant with roses and replace it with an envelope with roses. I like the colour of the roses in the sticker better. I'm going to layer a couple of flowers down the bottom right, just to bring a bit of interest there, a bit of pop of pink, and emphasise that part of the story that's in my little fairy tale. You can pause it and have a read if you like. It's nothing fancy. I'm no writer, if you will. But yeah. Okay, so I'm going through their sticker book for this collection now, and there's a ton of gorgeous little stickers in here, and these butterflies were just perfect. So I'm tucking a whole bunch of butterflies around the layout, and I'm going to bring off some of these little diamonds, and I'm going to scatter them around. They're adding to the I guess, magical feel of the layout. I also popped up these page numbers down the bottom for a purpose, because I knew that there were lots of tiny little flowers in the sticker book, and I wanted to kind of incorporate them in some way, and I felt like that would be a nice thing to do, is to pop them under these numbers. So that's why I've popped them up on foam, and you'll see that I've just tucked a whole bunch of little florals underneath those page numbers as well. So just continuing to add little bits and pieces. We've got a few stars going on. I've got some clouds, so I'm going to lay them around the page. They're going to bring interest. They're going to break up that white background, but not be incredibly intrusive on anything else, because they're just clouds pretty much. So I'm layering them around the place. Some of them have been pumped up on adhesive foam, which I'm just doing this one here on some foam. And just continuing to look for some pieces. I'm going to bring in some more flowers. Just layering them around and bringing much needed little pops of colour around the page. Okay, I did think about the puffy hearts, but decided they weren't needed. I'm going to flip it over and trim off the excess. There's not too much hanging over. And I'm going to glue my chipboard butterfly down. And I've got some tiny little mushrooms that I really wanted to bring in the layout. So I do move that little sticker that was underneath the cloud, and I just pop it up by the dragon, and then I layer a couple of little mushrooms down on that cloud, and another one down by my page number 1. Okay, this library card, I'd completely forgotten about it. I wanted to get it on though, so I'm just trying to work out a spot for it. I didn't want to pop it up there because I felt like it was covering the dragon, so I end up cutting it and just popping it up that left there, and that fills in that kind of void on the layout as well. So I'm just going to trim that and tape it down, and then I'm looking for a pen to write make believe, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what I wrote. I'm not going to write the date because I need to look it up on the computer. That's the kind of thing that I do after my layout. So now the fun bit, the sequins. I'm using the Dragon Tails mix and Tweaky Teal, that's a mouthful, sequin mixes. So the Dragon Tail mix is perfect for this collection, so that was a must. So I'm going to bring in a little shell behind that mermaid, and then lots of those little dark blue ones. They're a gorgeous colour, as well as a few of the really soft, like iridescent pinky white ones, and a couple of purple ones as well. So I'm just scattering them up and down the pages, and they're adding a bit of that magical feel to the layout. So someone around all the little embellishments, around these ones to the left of the layout. I'm going to bring a purple up there. Another one up there. And now I'm looking for the Tweaky Teal, and these have the most gorgeous gold glitter flat sequins you have ever seen. Yes, I'm not going to say any more. I love them. I didn't want to use them. I wanted to hoard them. But no, I put them on this layout. They're just beautiful. So I'm pulling out the little gold glittery ones and adding them around my layout as well. You will see me pull off the little pink diamonds in a minute. I felt like the pink just wasn't working. I pull off the yellow ones as well. I wanted to keep it kind of in the same colour family, the blues and purples. So I do pull off those little stickers and just pop them to the side, and that the colour balance feels a lot better within that little sparkly mix now. Okay, some last little bit of magic for the layout is some little splatters of gold Liquitex acrylic ink, and that's it for my layout. I hope you enjoyed the process. I sure did. Definitely brought out the inner child in me. And don't forget to use the code Virginia15 in the SpiegelMom Scrap Shop to get 15% off your purchase. But until next time, bye guys.